Real Madrid players that, in my opinion, should not have left the club. How do I actually choose who should not have left the club? The way I judge this is based on what did they accomplish through leaving the club and what did the club accomplish after they left. And when we speak about this, the first player that comes to my mind is Cristiano Ronaldo. He left Real Madrid in such a random moment. And when I speak about this, it was so confusing. It did not make sense. And it came out of nowhere. That's how I can explain it. And when he left, he was in his prime. He was in his prime. And sure, we don't know what exactly was Ronaldo's prime. But I think his prime was Real Madrid. When he left out of nowhere to Juventus. And let's look at his career. He went to Juventus. He went to Manchester United. Then to Al Nassr, his current club. And he's a legend. Full-blown legend. He should not have left the club. He could have won one or two more Champions Leagues. It could have benefited his career. And it could have benefited Real Madrid in many ways. Because if you remember, Real Madrid, immediately when he left the club, they weren't performing as they should have. They were struggling in the Champions League, struggling in the league, and overall went full-blown trophyless. And he's one of those players, and yes, you can mention Mbappe, you can say Mbappe is going to replace him finally. But I don't think Mbappe could replicate what he did. I don't think so. I think him and Messi, both of them, did crazy stuff which you can't replace genuinely. So he's the first one. The second one to me was Karim Benzema. He should not have left the club. He left the club in 2023. Also, a random moment. He did not announce this in the beginning of the season. He just left when Saudi came knocking on the door. And he left. He left for that paycheck. And it did not benefit him. You can say it did benefit Real Madrid in a way because we found a way. We found a way to play without him. And when he went to Al Ittihad, he wasn't performing. He even went missing because he hates being in Saudi. You know, I don't actually know the whole situation there, but it looks as though he's going to leave and go back to Europe, which I think is a good move for him. But imagine if he had stayed. Where would Real Madrid be? Would they still be as successful as they were this season? Or what would have happened? Would Jude Bellingham be able to perform as well as he did? Probably not. Honestly, probably not. And then the third one who should not have left was Casemiro. Because if you are not up to date with football, if you don't know what is going on in the world outside of Real Madrid, Casemiro is being called a flop. He's being called a flop, and Manchester United have not gotten the best out of him since his first season. Not to mention, he's picked up so many red cards, which he didn't when he was at Real Madrid. And people were saying it's referees, people were saying all kinds of stuff. But Casemiro, since he left, has not been the same player. And he left when he was in his prime. Because he left in 2022. We thought he would stay. And who knows how far Real Madrid would have been. Because we lacked a player like him. Chouameni was injured. And we struggled without a CDM. And he was that guy. But he was at Manchester United. So that's why I'm putting him here. He left very randomly as well. Out of nowhere, Manchester United show up. Casemiro says out of nowhere, he wants to now get a new challenge, and we are where we are now. So the next one is a player who I didn't get to watch because this was the early 2000s and the 1999s and so on. Fernando Redondo. He was a great player, but what I've heard, the stories I've heard about him, he left because he did not like Florentino Perez. That's what I heard, and he was forced out. He left for about 17 million euros. He left for AC Milan. If he had stayed, during the Galactico phase, he would have been spoken about forever. Because I think he was Galactico level. And yeah, I just think he was one of the best Real Madrid players ever, but also one of the most underrated. The next one on the list is Mesut Ozil. Mesut Ozil's situation, another thing. He left also in his prime. He left for Arsenal randomly. He could have had a Champions League under his belt. I don't know why he left the club. I can't even remember properly why he left, genuinely. But he left in such a random time. He was an outstanding player. He could have been Ballon d'Or level if he had stayed. But then he left for Arsenal. I don't know the full blown reason why. And he was given the number 10 jersey. He left in such a weird time, honestly. And I've never seen a player move like him, the way he would pass a ball. Sure, we have Toni Kroos, Modric, great creative players. Ozil was on a whole different scale, a whole different level when it came to being a creative midfielder. He was just so good and so underrated. I don't hear much Real Madrid fans speaking about how good this guy was. He was genuinely insane. And he was one of those players that I was disappointed he left, and I was shocked that he left, honestly. The next one is Diego Lopez. Diego Lopez left because of Iker Casillas, and arguably, if he stayed for one more season, he would have been our first choice goalkeeper. Because Iker Casillas had a full-blown 4-off season when Diego Lopez left the club. When the competition wasn't there anymore, he wasn't that good of a player anymore. So I don't know what happened with Iker Casillas. Iker Casillas left in such a weird way. He was forced out of the club, but within good reason. Honestly, I'm one of those people who respects Iker Casillas. I think he was an outstanding player, but he was past his prime. And when he left, he had to leave. I don't complain about it. I was complaining about it when I was watching the season unfold. But as time passes on, he had to leave, honestly. And the last one is Jesse Rodriguez. Jesse Rodriguez, if you did not know him, he was a bench player. He had so much potential. He left Real Madrid fairly early. He left for PSG. One of the worst moves you can ever make. He went to a money club for the paycheck also, but also for first team minutes. When he joined up with PSG, he didn't get his proposed first team minutes, and then he became a flop from there. He then went to Las Palmas, went on multiple loans to Stoke City, and the move did not benefit him at all. Of course, Real Madrid, Real Madrid are still a big club. They knew how to replace him. They replaced him with Asensio, and that was overall a great move. But that's it for now. Leave your thoughts, leave your opinions. Smash like, subscribe if you enjoyed, and turn on notifications if you would like to see these videos when they drop. But peace.